Have you ever noticed something strange? The loudest person in the room gets all the attention, but somehow the quiet person often gets the results. Sounds unfair, right? Well, today we're talking about why introverts secretly win in life. And trust me, by the end of this video, you might start seeing silence as a superpower. Let's begin. Most people think introverts are shy. That's the biggest misunderstanding ever. Being shy means you're afraid of social situations. Being an introvert simply means social situations drain your energy. It's like having a phone battery. Extroverts charge their battery by being around people. Introverts charge their battery by being alone. Neither is better. They're just different. But here's where things get interesting. The world is so busy celebrating loud voices that it often ignores the power of quiet minds. And that's exactly why introverts have an advantage. Think about it. When everyone is talking, introverts are observing. When everyone is reacting, introverts are thinking. And when everyone is following the crowd, introverts are usually creating their own path. Imagine two people in a meeting. One person talks for 20 minutes. The other person stays silent most of the time. At the end, the quiet person says one sentence. And suddenly everyone says, "Wow, that's actually a great idea." We've all seen that happen, because introverts often spend more time processing information before speaking. They don't always speak first, but when they do, their words usually carry weight. Now let's talk about friendships. Many introverts don't have 50 friends. Sometimes they don't even want 50 friends. They prefer a small circle, a few real connections. And surprisingly, that often leads to stronger relationships, because introverts tend to listen more than they talk. And let's be honest, people love talking about themselves. If you simply listen carefully, you're already more interesting than half the population. Funny, isn't it? Sometimes the secret to being liked is talking less. Another reason introverts secretly win is focus. Think about how many distractions exist today. Notifications, messages, videos, endless scrolling. It's chaos. But introverts often enjoy spending time alone. That means they can focus deeply on one thing for longer periods. And deep focus is becoming a rare superpower. While everyone else is checking their phones every 30 seconds, introverts are quietly building skills, learning, creating, improving. The results aren't visible immediately, but months later, people suddenly say, "Wow, you're so talented." No, they weren't magically talented. They were just practicing while nobody was watching. Now here's something funny. Have you ever had a conversation with an introvert? Sometimes you ask them a question. They answer with 3 words. Then 5 hours later, they suddenly come back with a perfect response. It's like their brain has a delayed update. But that extra thinking time is actually valuable, because introverts often make decisions more carefully. They don't jump into every opportunity. They don't follow every trend. They think, analyze, and then act. This doesn't mean they're always right. Nobody is. But it does help them avoid many unnecessary mistakes. And avoiding mistakes is often just as important as making good decisions. Let's talk about confidence. A lot of people confuse confidence with being loud.
But they're not the same thing. A person can talk nonstop and still feel insecure. Another person can stay quiet and feel completely confident. Real confidence doesn't need to announce itself. Think of a lion. It doesn't walk around telling everyone it's a lion. It simply is. Many introverts have this quiet confidence. They don't need constant validation. They don't need everyone to agree with them. They're comfortable spending time alone. And that's powerful. Because if you're comfortable alone, you're harder to manipulate. You don't desperately chase approval. You make choices based on what you actually want. Now, here's a secret most people don't realize. Many successful people are introverts. Writers, inventors, scientists, entrepreneurs. Why? Because creating something valuable often requires long periods of deep thinking, and introverts naturally spend more time there. In the world of constant noise, thinking has become underrated. Yet almost every great idea starts in silence. Think about that. The next big invention, the next best-selling book, the next life-changing idea. It probably won't be born in a room full of noise. It'll likely begin with someone sitting quietly, thinking. Now don't get me wrong. Being an introvert isn't perfect. Introverts face challenges too. Sometimes they overthink. Sometimes they avoid opportunities. Sometimes they stay silent when they should speak up. But every personality type has strengths and weaknesses. The goal isn't to become someone else. The goal is to understand your strengths and use them wisely. And that's where introverts often start winning. Not because they're louder, not because they're more popular, not because they're trying to impress everyone, but because they learn how to use their natural advantages: observation, focus, deep thinking, strong relationships, independence, patience. These traits may not look impressive in a single day, but over years, they become incredibly powerful. Life isn't a race to see who can make the most noise. It's a marathon. And sometimes the people moving quietly are the ones making the most progress. So the next time someone tells you you're too quiet, remember this. Quiet doesn't mean weak. Quiet doesn't mean boring. Quiet doesn't mean unsuccessful. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one who understands the room the best. And